Everyone, Ammo here for a Magicite guide. Today we're going to look at the Archer. This guide's going to be a little short after we go through the races, hats and companions, which ones you want to choose and stats and everything. It's going to be like a couple tips for the early game to mid game, and then probably just play through the last level because for most of the game it's just you point at the enemies you want to shoot and you shoot them and they die. You can outrange most of the enemies and you can see them before they see you most of the time. So you don't really need much advice for the actual playthrough running around and shooting things. Stats, you want green dexterity, most important thing. Green dexterity, green stats grow faster than the other stats, and dexterity determines your range damage, so grab green dexterity. Everything else is secondary. Health or attack, you don't need magic at all. So I just go health for health or attack. Attack will help you in the early game when you need to use melee. Traits, swift is really good. Healthy, defensive, offensive, or aggressive. Any of those dexterity, health, or attack bonuses are great. And I recommend Lockmaster. It's not required. There's the fire bow in the game. There are 4 ranged weapons: the regular bow, the crystal bow, the fire bow, and the laser crossbow. The regular bow you're going to get like super easy to make. Fire bow, or even you start with it. Fire bow, very strong. That's what you want this for. Get the golden chests. It used to be double damage, and now it's been adjusted a little bit lower, but still very strong, and it's worth taking Lockmaster for. And you'll want to go to, you can find it in the volcano. You can also find it in the golden chests. There's also the crystal bow, which you get in the quarry out of regular chests, which gives you some bonus stats. But it's so rare. It's so insanely rare. I found like 3. I played this game for like 300 hours. I found like 3 crystal bows ever. It's insane. So you might as well pretend those don't exist. The laser crossbow, as of now, is currently broken, and it requires magic to shoot anyway. It only does 1 damage for some reason, so you just forget that. Also, it's really just down regular bow, fire bow, and Lockmaster allows you to access the fire bow. Races, peon your basic starting class, it's okay. Because it's okay. It can do whatever you need it to do. And when you first start the game, it will need to do whatever you want it to do. Noble, not really appropriate for archery, is a magic class. Or collapse and attack class. Dolph is our first real archer class. He gets a lot of bonus dexterity, which is great. And he also starts with a bow, which is a matter of convenience. Your main concern early in the game is not a bow. You can find a bow. Sometimes you can't find the webs. In order to make a bow, it is 4 sticks plus 2 webs. Webs make a string. Sticks make an unstrung bow. You match those together and you get a bow. So the bow is just a matter of convenience. The main thing is arrows. You're going to be crafting lots of arrows. So Dwarf, main thing is a lot of extra dexterity. Crusader's an attack class, Remnant's magic class. Drogon has extra dexterity, but not as much. And he also starts the potions, which is really weird. He's a very strange class. Wouldn't really recommend him. Earthkin's generalist class. Big Folk's the best class ever. Negative all stats and starts with ham. Wonderful. Very dumb, but they just want to help. The Quelaag is an interesting choice. He has extra attack and dexterity and starts with a bug net for magic. He's another generalist class, a little more interesting way. So just all bonus stats, some extra attack through armor. He gets some extra help with magic and weird stats. I wouldn't recommend him doing archer build. Bandicoot, highly recommended. He has a fair bit of extra dexterity, plus extra attack, plus his rings for a lot of extra attack. So he's very strong early game with the attack. I think transitions well into his bow with his extra dexterity. Jin is a magic class lizardman, similar to the Bandicoot in that he has, with his emerald sword as an attack bonus, he has decent attack for the early game, with the additional dexterity for moving on later in the game. I would slightly recommend the Bandicoot more, because you might not get more rings later on, so starting with the rings is really cool, but Lizardman's still fine. Urgling, magic class spirit. Although he's not a dexterity class per se, he is so strong. Having that extra 15 attack plus a gold sword plus 5 health, you can just blitz murder the first few levels without a second thought. So take the spirit if you want. I can't. He's so strong. He's not meant for archery, but you can do whatever you want with him because he's strong enough. We'll go with the peon for the tutorial for the little guide. Now hats. The Archer has a very disappointing selection of hats. You really don't have much. Your best bets are either the Robin Hood hat, it gives you extra dexterity, 33% chance to gain extra dex, that's extra damage, solid basic hat, or actually the Minor cap. Mining Miner Cap gives you a 25% chance of yielding an extra ore, and you can use the extra ore for extra arrows, so you can get more ammo or more damage. Other than that, excluding the mobility hats like the ears or the wasp glasses or whatever, you don't really have anything. You don't need the melee masks for early in the game. That's unnecessary amount. That's like having a little extra crit chance early in the game, so you turn your 2 damage to 4 damage, whatever. It's not very exciting. And yeah, so Robin Hood hat or Miner Cap, really. Archer has the weakest selection of hats. Companion-wise, Regen Fairy, basic healing one, it's alright. Ancient Bat can be fun, he drops you stuff, he's fun to talk to. Yell out for dropping you junk, or reward for giving you early diamond stuff. Ace Beetle is fun, gives you extra speed. Gadget Guard's an attack-based ally. Gorgon Eye is magic. Floaty Slime and Goo are both forms of flight, which is okay, kind of personal taste. But all of this is just pointless to talk about, because the Flame of Hope is just the most massively overpowered thing ever. Oh, did I click it? Well, it looks like we're taking it. It doesn't matter. If you have Flame of Hope, just take Flame of Hope. He's strong. It's the strongest thing in the game. Don't even worry about it. I shouldn't have even taken him for the guide. In fact, let's back out of it and get rid of him before we start. But that's the Archer. You want lots of dexterity. Attack and health are secondary. Hat selection is poor. Decent choice of races. I would recommend like Bandicoot, Lizardman, then Dwelf. Not considering the Spirit in there. That would be how I rank those, and then Archer hat, the Robin Hood hat, and Miner Cap equivalent, and then the Flame Hopes is far and away the best companion of all time. Alright, so in the first level, you're going to your main priorities here are just to farm resources. You're going to have to use melee, you don't have arrows. Even if you start with the bow, you don't have arrows in order to fight. You're not going to really get a stack of arrows until a few levels into the game. So just use melee, watch the warrior guide if you're not entirely confident and want some advice on how to fight melee. That's going to be your main way of defending yourself. You don't want as much wood and sticks, as many sticks, well, not really wood, just sticks, and wood is a byproduct of getting sticks. You want as many sticks as you can get a hold of, because sticks are part of making arrows, and you don't want to be in a situation in which you are trying to make arrows and suddenly realize you have sticks. First level is easy, you have a little extra time before the Scourge arrive, you have like 5.5 minutes. So go ahead and use that, take advantage of that time to get as much wood as you can get. Feel free to make a sword to help out with the melee chores. And although you need stone, you're going to want as much stone as you can get in order to make arrows, but do not forget to upgrade your pickaxe first. You'll end up with plenty of stone, but upgrade your pickaxe. Make sure you can get a stone pickaxe, start getting iron. For your iron pickaxe, maybe iron armor and iron arrows in the future. Actually, we have enough bone. Conveniently, that's not bone. And don't forget, you can also use bone for bone instead of wood. And use leather in order to make the archer armor. We'll talk about that in town though, and if you're gonna want to use the stone for that or not. And just keep farming up as many sticks. Oh, my voice! Keep farming up as many sticks as you can. That is, I coughed in it. Apparently that cough just completely broke my concentration. Farm up as many sticks and as much stone as you can get. That's your primary duty. Also, experience is great. Getting a couple spider webs for your bow is great. By the way, making a bow is super easy. Bam, bam, bam. That's your bow. Get another web. Mash the webs together, makes a string, and then use the string to string the bow. Like, try to get 99 sticks. 99 sticks is great. If you want to, if you're worried about the Scourge, you can clear to the level and then work backwards through the trees. So if the Scourge come, you just have a straight shot to the exit in order to run through. If you have decent attack, feel free to attack the wasp nests, get some extra experience. But of course, if you don't have that much attack, it takes too much time, it's too risky, whatever, feel free to skip it. Archery kind of scale and power more towards the late game, so if you want to be a little skittish early game, that's fine. We will go ahead and fight it because we have decent health, decent attack, and we're making decent time through the level. We'll go to farm it for experience. And for the first few levels, you're going to do this for the first few levels, farming after the first level alone should get you fine on sticks. After that, you're building up stone, using that stone. Don't touch me. Using that stone to make arrows, and then after that guy's a survivor. After about 3 levels, maybe, yeah, about 3 districts. I'll say on average, 3 districts, you'll have a stack of arrows, so you can start shooting arrows at enemies or relying more on your arrows. You can kind of mix arrows and melee together. Melee weak creatures, your arrows against anything a little bit stronger. And then after that, then you can just go pure arrows. Alright, in town, as always, sell your junk. Make our bow now, even though we don't really need it because we don't have the arrows yet. Making arrows pretty easy. You're gonna want stone arrows. Just combine your stone with your sticks. Boom, you have arrows. We can keep our bow ready for an emergency, but we don't need to use it yet. Sell our junk, cook your food. You don't need pelts, you need hides. Hides make your armor. We didn't get enough hides for armor after our first district. That's pretty normal. Might be up till the second or third one until we get enough hides, and then we have enough iron to make iron armor. It's kind of up to your discretion to make iron leather armor. It's hard to recommend because sometimes it's hard to predict. Sometimes don't get hide. Sometimes we run out of arrows if you use too many resources to make the armor. I would recommend at first just make iron. Just make the armor as it comes, as you get the resources in. But make iron armor once you have enough hides and iron, and then build up to gold and diamond. Go through it normally. Once you get a little bit more experience with the game, experiment with skipping iron or skipping gold and going straight to diamond. And then once you're comfortable with the game, you'll know which way you like and how you're comfortable with. So at first, go ahead and make your iron armor. Although keep in mind you will be losing arrows in the future. Another thing is that I forgot to use. I was too busy demonstrating the arrows. I forgot to make a fire. Well, not a big deal. So you have bones. You can make bone arrows if you want to, but also you're not going to get a huge stack of bone arrows because you don't get nearly as much bone as you will stone, or even maybe iron, kind of depending how you go through the game. But you shouldn't get you should get tons of iron. So feel free to make help you get that 99 sticks. If you get enough bones at first level, feel free to make a bone axe. The wooden axe, it's twice as fast as the wood axe. So it just saves you a lot of time. It's convenient and only takes a little bit of bone. Same with sword. You make a bone sword. You don't need bone that much for arrows. And a note on the sells wood. Yeah, well, it's wood. You can pretty much, yeah, you can sell it. You don't need it for anything. That helps the archer get a little bit of money if you need money for anything. Note on the chickens. You can kill the chickens in the first level if you so desire. I wouldn't recommend it until, say, third or fourth, when you have third or fourth level. I don't say district because district was town, so that'd be confusing. Third or fourth level, then maybe you have a stack of arrows in which you can fire at the chicken boss, because the chicken boss can be quite grindy. He has a lot of health, doesn't do a lot of damage, but if you're just like running around smacking him forever, he can wear you down pretty quickly. Watch out for that. And then that's it. You go through, you gather, keep your level sticks high, gather a ton of stone, make stone arrows. You're gonna build up iron, make iron arrows. Gold and diamond arrows are unlikely to come because you'll be using that for tools and armor first, and then you can make some arrows out of them, and you make relatively small stacks of those anyway, which you might see as we go to the last level. But that's how you play Archer. It's not that complicated. It's not that complicated. You focus mostly on getting resources first 2 levels, turn those resources into arrows, and then just shoot your way through the rest of the game. While you still need to gather resources. Don't stop gathering resources, like, ever. And you should be fine. Alright, level 15 is a good opportunity to talk about the skills. Here we end up with the wolf, the dexterity buff, and the triple shot. The wolf is kind of a weird, you get to ride him in a battle. Look at that, it's not fun, but you shoot out a wolf, jumps around, he pushes things and does damage. The main thing is that he does push things, he pushes everything, and he can end up going underneath things and pushing them from behind back into you. He can push them away. He's a menace. He's an absolute menace. He's a bit fun, but definitely unreliable and pretty chaotic. But he's alright. The plus 10 dexterity for you and your allies if you play multiplier, not Markiplier. You get a plus 10 dexterity bonus, plus 10 damage. It's a very good skill. The triple shot is the most important one. You shoot 3 arrows at one time that deal double damage, and then you combine those. Obviously very strong. You also, I'm missing out one of the best abilities, at least unless you have a fire bow, is the wisp, in which you shoot your arrow through it, the arrow catches fire and deals double damage. Doesn't quite work with fire bow because your arrows are already on fire with the fire bow. But if you don't have fire bow, it's an amazing skill, particularly when you combine it with the triple shot, because then you get quad damage arrows and it's amazing. And one note, here we have the cave, quarry, and dungeon. It's a little early for the dungeon. I would normally recommend going to the cave to farm that experience, but because I'm eternally on a quest for the legendary crystal bow, I'm going to jump into the quarry real quick. Although I would normally recommend you start out in easy biomes. This is also a good point to go over the biome order. Start off with easy biomes to farm up your resources for arrows, so forest and swamp. And then you transition to cave, mostly for the mid game. You want to go to the cave a lot. And late game, dungeon and volcano. Volcano only if you have Lockmaster to open the gold chest for a chance to find Firebow. Otherwise, dungeon just for its ores and loot. Okay, preparing for the final level. Eat your food, and you're not going to really need your food, so you can go ahead and sell that, make some potions. Drink the little potion, get out of the way. Go to high health. You don't need your axe, really. You also don't necessarily need your pick. You can mine light shards if you feel so inclined. I don't think as an archer you really need that. You shouldn't need to do that. But you can also get stones from that in order to make arrows, which you really shouldn't need to do that either. But you can keep your pickaxe and your sticks if you feel so inclined. Other than that, you put up... At this time you should have not a huge stack of stone arrows because you're using that for much of the game. You've been using stone and iron for much of the game. You should be leaning a little bit towards more stone, so you should have more iron, or using more stone throughout the game, so you should have more iron at this point, the final level. So I recommend going whatever you have the most stack of, which should be iron. If it's stone, that's fine too. It's very small difference. You should also have a stack of gold and diamond, which you might not even end up using. You might use diamond against Axelark. I think I'm gonna do a little bit of showboating. We'll do a little Axelark demo fight last level as well. Okay, I think we're ready to go. Everything ready to set up. So hit into the Scourge level, and we're going to immediately start shooting forward. You usually want to be shooting like a lot, and hopefully you have enough damage to one-shot everything. Yeah, that's one of the main reasons. There's two main reasons why you're going to be ABS, always be shooting. Is one, to hit the masks and kill them as quickly as possible. Two, is that the worms, their hitbox is above ground before their artwork actually pops up. Their sprite pops up when you get close. They're actually there the whole time. So you can shoot them while they're technically below ground. Just like that, you just saw that. So you don't actually run into any of them, you want to clear as much space as possible. You also want to kill Scourge masks before they do too much, when the attacks start moving around too much. So you want to be shooting a lot. Look forward, shoot down all the platforms, anywhere you might have worm problems, and also anywhere masks might be. If you don't want the masks, get out of here. Do not want the masks to be flying around too much. Okay, let's go fight Axelark real quick. We're going to equip our diamond arrows for him because he's a bit of a punk. Drop the Axelark summon. And now you want plenty of room. Like, get a big room and run circles around him. Like big circles. Kind of like fighting a giant broodmiller. You want big circles. Except not really like fighting giant broodmiller, because the technique of just going leading the broodmiller up and down doesn't quite work because of these swords. So instead of going up and down, you do a big circle. Oh no, I've fallen. What a terrible idea. And also the longer it takes to kill him, the more swords he summons. So really want to make sure you have a decent amount of damage for you. Attempt fighting this guy. And also don't corner yourself like that. And it's also important to keep in mind that his swords will float there after he's dead, so get around them. I have to go kill Scourge Man, so I have to hurry up as fast as we can, get up here. Now Scourge Man fight isn't that hard. It's a little bit harder because he has these smaller bolts that move very quickly that got added to his attack, yeah, like that. So it's a little harder to dodge and stuff. We need to put in our arrows, our gold arrows, why not? And you just dodge and shoot. It's a very, very simple fight. Wow, that hit me. I'm mad, I'm impressed. Should be able to stay away from his mouth while attacks come from his mouth. And kinda, it's really awkward. we get put ourselves in an awkward situation. If we do enough damage, not a big deal though. Be able to dodge his attacks pretty easily, because you can avoid his mouth for the most part, being an archer. Then, all you gotta do, jump over his bolts, jump through the bolts, get as often as you can, get away from his mouth, and then just use your abilities. In fact, you can throw the dog out if you have it, it does decent damage. And you should go down fairly quickly. We killed him like a room and a half there, with actually pretty strong stats and equipment. And maybe 2 rooms at the most, as long as you keep firing. We have a bit of an awkward deal with the swords. So that is the Archer Guide. Not too much there, it's mostly early game. Use your melee, gather sticks and stones and iron and build up your tech tree and gather resources to make arrows, get big stacks of arrows. in the first few levels. Use those arrows sparingly for the next couple of levels mid-game. And then late mid-game to late game, use your arrows as much as you want to, because you should have a bunch. Level up. Early game, stick to the easy biomes, forest, and the swamp, and then you can transfer to whatever you're comfortable with, or the caves. Recommend the caves for experience. And then the dungeon and the volcano, if you have Lockmaster, for the loot you can get in there. Also Lockmaster, the benefit, I forgot to mention, like the Scourge Shield gives you a little bit of benefit if you have Lockmaster. And then at the last level, shoot a lot. Take advantage of your arrows just to shoot just an unlimited number of arrows. Keep shooting. And then clear level, turn around and shoot the Scourge Man down. And then that's it, you won your archer run. If I've forgotten anything, I know I forgot the downward arrow skill where you jump and the arrow shoots down. Because I forgot to mention it because it's awful. If I forgot anything else, or if you have any other advice or any questions, whatever, feel free to ask, of course, as always. Other than that, hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you did. Subscribe for more fun like Twitch tutorial. Let you guys know the deal, and I'll see you next time.